11. And I'm Betty Weiss, who will be acting as the staff hearing officer today. So we'll review the items on our agenda in the order of the agenda, beginning with preliminary matters. Staff, are there any changes to today's agenda? My understanding is none, so we'll follow ahead. Under announcements and appeals, a prior staff hearing officer meeting decision has been appealed, and that was a decision regarding a performance standard permit for an additional dwelling unit on, I believe, the property's Mission Ridge?
Yes. I think it's 1233 Mission Ridge was
the property on Mission Ridge Road for an additional dwelling unit, and that's now pending for hearing at the City Planning Commission. That's it for announcements. Our next item is comments from the public on any item related to the staff hearing officer that's not on the agenda. There's no one present today for that comment, so we'll move to Project A. The first project is regarding 420 East Anapamu, and it's a time extension for a prior approved show project modifications and tentative map. Ms. Riegel?
Hello, I'm Suzanne Riegel, case planner for the time extension. This was a new condominium, two-bedroom project with a conversion of an existing three-bedroom unit. It was originally approved on January 31st of 2007. Under the governor, he passed a bill in 2008 under SB 1185. It was granted a 2-year time extension, which extended that approval to January 31st of 2010. Then under another governor or assembly bill, it was extended to January 31st, 2012 under AB 333. And today the applicant is requesting a 2-year time extension to extend the approval to January 31st of 2014. In the municipal code, there is a requirement to make a finding that the project is consistent with the zoning ordinance and the general plan. And in the staff report under Section 3, I did discuss that it is compliant with the city zoning ordinance and the building ordinances and policies of the general plan. There have been no changes to the project since 2007 when it was originally approved. And we do have one letter.
Okay, thank you. Did the applicant get a copy of the letter as well?
No, I just received it.
Oh, okay. The letter is from Paula Westbury, and she has a number of concerns, including that she doesn't think that the lot should be developed with 3 condos, that it's too small. Thanks. So I'm familiar with the project and the property, having been the original approving body of the, or person of the project. I reviewed the record from the staff, and it all seemed familiar and in order in terms of where we are today, existing zoning and general plan. I did think that it would be worth just noting that the city has become a little tougher on with regard to modifications. The project did include some modifications, and the size of the units are a little bit larger than, in terms of floor area, square footage, than what has been under discussion. However, no new rules regarding unit sizes have been adopted. So I don't think that there's any particular standard that is a question here. However, I did want to ask the staff and for the applicant, in reviewing the conditions of approval, all these conditions are still necessary and appropriate. I don't know whether or not there's been any progress, what the progress has actually been done on the project in terms of design review or meeting any of the conditions of approval. And I did want to note that it had been quite some time now, of course, since it's had any design review. This action is regarding the tentative map, but it'll be important to get current on your design review of the project, and once that is done, it can run with the approval of the tentative map. So with approval of a time extension, this is going to run until January of 2014. it would make sense to go and get your design review approvals in order, and they will also run till 2014 if, that's an important next step to take. So I don't really have any questions for the staff. I did have one question, which was simply, I wanted to be clear on what finding was necessary to approve the time extension. And so I think I've got that now. At that time, I'll say what needs to be said. Okay, so I'll turn it over to the applicant if you'd like to add anything. I don't have any questions for you. Really, my only comment to both you and the staff was to look towards moving forward on review of the conditions, and your design review is what's necessary. Would either of you like to make any comments?
I have a question, and the question relates to your last comment about design review. Now, perhaps there's a misunderstanding on my part, but I was under the impression that within the last 30 to 60 days, the city...
Oh, you need to push that button. Sorry.
Sorry.
Okay.
Should I start over?
Yes.
I have a question, and the question relates to my understanding that within the last 30 to 60 days, the city made a decision that they wanted the design review and a tentative map approval for those two to run concurrent.
Correct.
And so I'm trying to figure out your last...
My statement is once you receive the project design approval, it will run with the tentative map approval.
But we haven't received that yet.
Not that I'm aware of.
I didn't know we had to go for that.
Yes, design review is required for the project. It's a multi-unit project, 3 units. It's subject to the Architectural Board of Review. In the early stages of the project, it had conceptual review level at the Architectural Board of Review, but it's required to attain a full project design approval, final approvals of design review. So this running concurrent, you need to attain that approval first in order for it to run.
Does that entail obtaining construction drawings?
No. It still is a design review process, design level. So my understanding is not much has been done since this prior approval.
That's correct.
Okay. So just pretend that we are here for the first time. You're doing the same thing. These are your conditions of approval. You need to look at those and move forward on those. And you need design review approval before you can get a building permit.
Oh, we know that. Yeah.
Okay. So you don't have design review approval yet, but it would be in your interest of getting that, and then it will run on record with this till January 2014.
Okay.
And of course, because it's a subdivision, there are a number of conditions about recording a parcel map as well.
The one
You
notation,
need to turn your button on too.
Dave Perry, one of the owners of 420 East Anapamu Street. I just wanted to note for the record that in the original plan that was submitted, and as it is shown here on the map itself, there is an existing large Monterey pine tree. That tree no longer exists. The city of Santa Barbara removed that after it became diseased and not viable. They did install a smaller Monterey pine further down the street to replace that, which actually helps in the backing out and visibility of getting cars in and out of the lot.
Okay, thank you. That's good to know. Any other comments? Okay, I am approving the requested time extension for the tentative map and associated modifications. With the finding that the project continues to be consistent with the general plan and zoning ordinance as originally approved.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. You're welcome. I don't believe this action's appealable. Is that correct? Right. So this just stands as a more or less administrative action.
Very good.
Okay, thanks.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you for the photos.
Thank you very much, Ben. Suzanne, appreciate all your help and support. And I would presume that with all this other work we have to do, we'll be seeing a lot of you.
Could be. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we're getting ready for our second and last item on today's agenda. So this is regarding lot mergers and lot line adjustment and associated modifications, property at 220 East Junipero Street and 2319 Garden. Hi.
Howdy.
anyone associated with the project, please have a seat. And that is you.
That is me today.
Okay, thank you. We'll begin with a brief staff report from Ms. Riegel. I wanted to state for the record that I'm very familiar with the project area and the lots involved, but I didn't go and do a physical site visit before this meeting, but I asked us to see some photographs. The nature of the project and the staff report, it was pretty clear to me that I understood it without the need to do a formal site visit. So just wanted to let you know that. Okay.
And this one's on this.
Okay. While Suzanne's getting ready to begin, we did receive a letter, I think. Did we just receive this today as well?
Yes.
Okay, so you haven't been provided a copy, but I'll just quickly summarize. It's a letter from Paula Westbury, and it's fairly lengthy. She's expressing concerns about the project, perhaps related to archaeological resources, and she's concerned. She recommends keeping the zoning requirements as they are. Thank you. We can get you a copy of that letter if you'd like.
All right.
Okay.
The project is a voluntary lot merger and tentative lot line adjustment. It also involves 2 street frontage modifications and a lot area modification. There are 3 lots involved. The property at 2319 Garden Street, which is here, is approximately 15,000 square feet. And then we have a property that is vacant to the rear that is landlocked. It is approximately 5,000 square feet. These 2 lots will be merged, and then a lot line will be adjusted, and that is shown on the second page here. And they are moving this lot line from here to here, which will result in creating a larger lot for this parcel at 220 East Junipero of approximately 8,700 square feet, 775 square feet. Each of the existing parcels obviously have a finite amount of street frontage that is available to them, and because the lot line adjustment is at the rear of the property, they cannot increase that street frontage. So staff is supportive of the street frontage modifications. The minimum lot area in this area for a property zoned E1 is 15,000 square feet. Sorry, and while the second parcel, parcel 2, will not meet that minimum requirement, it is improving and has increased by roughly 34%, and is moving in a direction of being more compliant with the zoning ordinance and meeting general plan density requirements. So staff is supportive of the lot line adjustment and the voluntary lot merger, the 2 street frontage modifications, and the lot area modification.
Okay. Thank you. I understand the project and the staff recommendation. At one point, when we start discussing it further, I had some questions on the conditions, but we can wait and do that after we hear from the applicant. Hi, if you'd like to state your name for the record and add any comments. I don't have any questions regarding the scope of the project. I do understand that, but if you'd like to add, please.
Yes, my name is Russ Banco, and the project seems straightforward. There's no construction. It's just getting rid of a lot that nobody likes, the landlocked lot that's somewhat contentious, and so it seems like it's a win-win. That's probably all I had to say.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience present? I'd like to open the public hearing. Any additional comments from the public? Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Yes, I'm familiar of some of the prior contentious discussions in the neighborhood when a new home was proposed on this landlocked parcel. So I think that this is probably a very happy outcome for a number of people. Both lots are getting larger, can make use of the property, and be compatible with your neighbors. Because at the center of a block, sometimes that is, where so many neighbors are adjoining, that concerns can be about, the idea of a new home. So I was very happy to hear that this project's progressing in this manner, and I'm completely in agreement with staff regarding the modifications. The pattern of development, the lots are set, the frontage modification, these are very much technicalities, and the lot line adjustment creates a larger parcel, although it doesn't completely comply, so that all makes complete sense to me. The questions I had, though, was because this really is just a merger and lot line adjustment, the city staff, the land development team, still had a number of conditions, next steps, that the applicants would need to take to complete the project. But I think the standard template was a little confusing because I don't know if you got a chance to review those conditions of approval, but I think the staff's going to present revised ones. You know, it talked about submitting a parcel map, which is a subdivision. It talks about getting a building permit. I don't think you're getting a building permit. But these key points that they still want to see be done, I think maybe now you're just reordering them. Is that correct?
I changed the language in
Okay.
existing condition B to eliminate the words parcel map approval and insert recordation of survey in two
Okay.
locations. I have eliminated the heading of C and
That was about a
renumbered
building permit.
2 and 3 underneath
Okay.
that. Conditions C1 and 2 to C or B2 and 3,
Okay. Perfect.
which changes D to C.
Okay.
After that.
So this doesn't change the subject so much about you'll need to do the record of survey, a water rights agreement, and such, which are very basic to implement it. It's just now more accurate.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any questions about that? Or
No,
any
that
of your
we
clients?
talked about those also, and
Okay.
they didn't seem to match this project, so now the
Now it
terms
matches.
match the project.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. All right. Well, with that, I concur with the staff recommendation included in the staff report, Section 7, making the findings as noted in the staff report, Section 7A and B. I just want to make one minor edit at the end of the findings. The findings reference, they use the word above, and that's not going to make sense when it's in the resolution. So I would just change that word above to say staff report, because these findings will now be placed in a show resolution. Okay. Now, this is also a fairly unique type of project, but it is appealable because it has modifications, right? So I need to inform you that all decisions of the staff hearing officer are appealable to the Planning Commission. And, well, decisions such as this one, this decision is appealable. Also, the Planning Commission has an oversight. They have a liaison that reviews projects, is familiar with what's going on our agenda. And if the liaison or another Planning Commissioner believes that it is of substance that they should review, they can do what's called a suspension and bring the project up. So we would know of either action, appeal or suspension, within 10 calendar days of today, which falls on a Sunday, so then it's a Monday. 11 calendar days, I think.
Yeah.
But for the record, that's the possibility of the next step. But not anticipating that, these conditions would be what you do next.
Okay.
Okay? So I
Sounds
just
good.
approved it.
Alrighty.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And that concludes our meeting. Thank you all.